guys. So, today they released the Revolution combat ability, along with some other general combat updates and changes, which should make the game run more smoothly and overall better. Now, to see these things, you can go to the Powers menu, which is this little blue balls of death, that sounded bad, thing over here, and go to Combat Settings. Now, they changed it so there's now combat modes. There's full manual, which is just everything that you guys know and love. It's normal, just manual combat like it is in the EOC. But now we have Revolution. And what that does is it triggers the slots from 1 to 9. So in my thing, from Q until Z on the action bar in order. So for instance, it'll fire ability 1, then ability 2, then ability 3. But if ability 1 is done, then it'll go from, instead of firing ability 3, it'll fire ability 1. However, this will not activate any threshold or ultimate abilities. And now you'll note that I do have Regenerate in here, but as Revolution requires you to be in combat, and Regenerate is not usable in combat, you have nothing to worry about here. Then we have Momentum Plus. It's just momentum, only you can use ultimates now. There's really nothing special to it. Now, we have this new thing called ability queuing. It's nice when you're using Revolution to do things such as Slayer. However, it can get very tedious when you're doing something such as the Queen Black Dragon, which requires you to have a certain amount of flexibility. You don't want to have a queued ability, you just want to be able to spam and quickly change from one to the other. Now, when you activate Revolution, it might ask to set up your ability bar for you. This is not something I recommend, as it gives you things that are good, I'm not going to lie, they're decent ability sets. However, if you do this, you might feel kind of oppressed. As many people, there's a psychological thing where once you select something, you don't want to change it. Now, what I've done here is I've set up some ability bars that I personally use. Now, obviously, when you are doing range or mage, those are set up for dual wield and 2H setups respectively. So simply change the R abilities from their dual wield to single wield counterparts. And now for action bars number 1 and 5, not number 1 and 5 on the screen, but the ones labeled number 1 and 5, those are dual wield and 2H melee setups. They're different because unlike the range and mage setups, which are essentially the same, they are actually quite different based upon what style you're using. So I would personally recommend for a Slayer or for whatever combat activity you're doing, if you're using Revolution, that you use one of these ability setups, as they're just more reliable and, in my opinion, just overall better than the ones that they'll give you automatically when you select Revolution. Okay, what you see me doing now is just doing a simple test. I'm doing a test run of Revolution with Super Pots and Turmoil. And what I'm starting with is manual combat, and just to see how fast it is for me to kill these bastards. Now, as you can see, it's pretty fast. Anyone that has done Slayer in the past and is at the level to kill these guys will know that this is average. This is using one of my ability bars, same ability bar I use for Revolution. But yeah, I'm just killing with manual combat, and everything is normal. So nothing special about this. This was just my baseline for speed test, and I want to switch it to Revolution, but guess what? Can't do that in the middle of combat, so I get to wait a bit. Yay. Okay, now that we're back. So, Revolution time. Now, something kind of interesting happens with Revolution. You're attacking the monster, and you don't do anything for a while. Now, I think this is both a good and a bad move on Jagex's part, because it makes it so that when you attack a monster, you're not instantly doing your abilities, instead of it just being where you attack and then suddenly you're doing abilities. It's like, it gives you a couple seconds, like, are you sure this is the monster you're supposed to be attacking? Like, you know, we don't want to just use some, because maybe you have some really long wait ability at the front instead of being smart and having one of the quick recharge ones at the front, and it's like, oh crap, and I have to wait 30 seconds to use that again, but I clicked on the wrong monster. So that's kind of a good move, but at the same time, it also means that for Slayer assignments, which I can tell was what this was made in mind, what they had in mind when they set this up, it makes it a fair bit slower, because you have to wait before you start doing abilities. But I think that's also kind of the point, is that they didn't want to make it so that everyone would just use Revolution now instead of doing manual combat. It's kind of like the game mechanic itself was properly balanced. Now, you're going to see me switch to Momentum here, and I cut the footage because the only impressive thing about Momentum Plus is that you get to use ultimates. So you saw I switched out to it. But there's nothing. It actually took me, I think, 5 minutes to get to my ult. It was insane. And now here I am. Nope, don't want to use that ult. Overpower. Use my ult. Yay. Momentum Plus, everyone. The exact same completely useless thing as before. Alright. Now it's time for what I actually thought of this update as a whole. I'd say it's a good update. It's 7 out of 10. It has some pros and some cons. It is easier combat. It just makes it so it's less intense clicking for those that don't want to have all the intense clicking, but also don't want to do momentum, because that thing sucked. And another kind of pro, but it's also kind of a con, I'll get to the con in a minute, is that momentum is kind of useful now. Now, the cons of this update are that it doesn't actually speed up Slayer, or even, it doesn't even keep Slayer at the same rate, plus or minus 5%. All that it does is it slows you down about, I'd say, like, just from that little test that I did, about 10% probably, maybe a bit more to use Revolution. And if you're going for 99 Slayer, that 10%, that's like 50 more hours you gotta spend, or, okay, not that much anymore, but like, good 15 more hours you gotta spend. And a con of that whole momentum thing is that really, momentum is kind of useless now, because there's no reason to use it. If it boosted the ultimate damage, like for instance, when you're momentuming and you use an ult, it does double the ult's original damage, that would be one thing. But as it stands currently, there's no reason whatsoever for you to use momentum over Revolution. Revolution does all the same stuff, only it allows you to use all of your abilities, not just some. So as far as I'm concerned, they should honestly just remove momentum and call Revolution momentum, because it's like, I'm going to say it's a 10% decrease down from full, and it's almost like a 75. It's like momentum is only like 75, if that, percent of full combat, and there's no reason to use that over Revolution. But hey, that's just my thought, and when it comes down to it, this video is more about telling you guys about the update. I hope that you guys enjoyed, and it would really boost my already massive ego if you were to leave a like and subscribe if you want to. Of course, half of you, after I said that, unsubscribed and disliked because I said that and I was begging for likes and subs. Guess what, guys? This is YouTube. It's kind of one of the points. But anyways, when it really comes down to it, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.